Whispers to the raven. I open the door. Not all at once, just enough. Just enough for the light to crawl across the threshold like fingers through a crypt. Just enough to let her voice slip in, soft, like breath against the back of my neck. Elora? The air shifted. Not wind, memory. Thick, warm, suffocating. The scent of scorched lilac filled my lungs and I staggered back. I wasn't in the room anymore. I was inside her. A flicker of sky bruised with red lightning. A child kneeling before a black altar. A crown of twisted metal, half melted, still warm from the forge. My knees hit stone. The ground was wet. It wasn't ash anymore, it was blood. She's remembering, a voice murmured nearby. Not Vale. Not the raven. Someone older, harsher, wiser. Too fast, said another. She'll burn out if she sees the rest. But I didn't stop. I wanted the burn. I wanted the truth. Then I saw her. The other Elora. Standing across from me, her eyes glowing like candlelight behind a veil of soot. She smiled. Not cruel, not kind either. Like someone remembering the shape of a face they used to wear. You let me out, she said. Now we share the skin. The walls bled away. I was back in the cabin. But everything felt wrong. The furniture was twisted. The window showed a sky of bone-white clouds swirling over black fields. The raven perched above the hearth, his feathers flared. You shouldn't have opened the seal. I had to, I said. My voice echoed. It wasn't just mine anymore. It rang deeper, wider, like I was speaking with two mouths. He cawed sharply. She'll consume you. No, I said. She's part of me. Vale laughed, inside my head, behind my ribs, in every shadow. Not part. The root. Suddenly, a crack echoed through the ceiling. Then another. The world shuddered. She's waking more than memory, the raven said, his voice now laced with fear. She's waking the others. The others? I whispered. But before he could answer, the door I'd opened, the one behind me, opened wider on its own, and something stepped through. Its footfall made no sound, not even the creak of old wood or the rustle of dust, just a sensation, like being watched from behind your eyes. I turned slowly. What stepped through wasn't a person. Not exactly. It was tall, taller than any man I'd known, dressed in robes that flickered between cloth and smoke, stitched with symbols that glowed like open wounds. Where its face should have been, there was only a smooth oval of black glass, and behind it, my own reflection. But it wasn't moving like me. The thing raised a hand, long, fingerless, cloaked in shadows that bled light, and pointed at my chest. Return. One word, but it cracked across the walls like thunder. Behind me, the raven flapped violently, feathers falling like shards of obsidian. You have to choose now, he shrieked. Lock her back or you go with her. But I couldn't move. My body wasn't listening. I could feel her, the other Elora, pressing outward, her voice curling in my throat. Let me speak, and God's help me. I let her. My mouth opened. My voice came out, but it was hers. I was promised the name. I was promised the flesh. The world forgets, but I do not. I remember the fire. The figure with the glass face paused. Then it did something strange. It bowed to her. To us. Vale screamed. No, don't trust them. That one bears the brand of the Hollow King. I felt her grin stretch my lips. The other Elora was fully in me now, and for the first time, she felt stronger than I did. Then the figure turned, and the moment it stepped back through the door, so did the sky. The clouds peeled open like skin, revealing a shape coiled above the world. A serpent, vast and blind, wearing a crown of roots and bone. The Hollow King. And he saw me, saw her, and he smiled. I stumbled back, clutching the frame of the door, but the cabin was gone. The world had changed. It wasn't a memory. It wasn't a dream. I was standing in a real place now. An endless field of charred grass and thorny trees, their trunks split with mouths that whispered nonsense in my direction. The sky wasn't sky. It was a ceiling of roots, dripping black sap, and the Hollow King's body hung across it like a suspended god coiled in sleep. But his eye was open, and it was fixed on me. "You brought her back," said a voice beside me. I turned. Vale stood in the shape of a man now, his raven feathers clinging like a torn cloak. His eyes were still avian, black, bottomless, ancient. "You shouldn't be here," he hissed. "Not yet. This place is beneath remembering." "Where am I?" I asked, barely recognizing my own voice. It sounded deeper, echoed strangely. He didn't answer. He didn't need to, because in the distance I saw them. Figures. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Each one a reflection of her, of Elora. But not me. Not quite. Some wore crowns. Some wore masks. Some had no faces at all. All of them walked toward the Hollow King, and all of them were burning. Vale touched my shoulder. "These are the ones who answered before you. The echoes, the fragments, the failed vessels." I couldn't breathe. "They're all me?" He nodded. "And soon you will be one of them unless you turn back." "I don't want to be them," I whispered. "I want to end this." The ground trembled. From deep below I heard it. Not the king, not the echoes. Her heartbeat. The one inside me. The one that wasn't mine, but had become part of me all the same. Boom, boom, boom. Each pulse pulled the world tighter around me as if the skin of this place was shrinking. Then she whispered from within. "We were born in ash. We rise in echo. We end in blood." And my hands, both of them, were now glowing, carved with the same symbols that burned on the Hollow King's throne. The runes on my skin pulsed like veins filled with fire. Not ink, memory, not mine, hers. And they hurt, like truths that had waited too long to be told. Vale backed away, wings twitching. "You opened too much. The Hollow King sees you clearly now." "I never wanted this," I whispered. "And yet here you are," he said bitterly. "She chose you because you were empty enough to carry her voice. You've been echoing her name since you were born." Behind him, the sky began to crack. Hairline fractures running across the roots above, glowing red from some inner fire. The Hollow King stirred. And all the broken Eloras, the mask-wearers, the crowned, the faceless, began to scream in unison. Not in fear, in welcoming. They chanted in a tongue I didn't understand but somehow recognized. Like lullabies in a language forgotten just after birth. Vale grabbed my wrist. "You can still leave. But if you stay, if you speak her name aloud, there's no going back." "She's already inside me," I said. What would going back even mean? He didn't answer. He just stared at me with a kind of mourning only old gods understand. That's when I heard it. My mother's voice. Elora. Clear. Close. Not from memory. Not from dream. From beneath. Below my feet, the ash split open like cracking ice. And I saw her. My real mother. Trapped in a mirror beneath the earth, eyes wide, hands pressed to the inside of the glass. And her mouth was stitched shut with silver thread. Vale paled. She tried to contain the name. She sealed it inside herself. That's why she vanished. Why no one remembered her. I dropped to my knees. The thread trembled, glinting with firelight. Then I reached out. My fingers touched the mirror. It was warm, alive, and it whispered, "She can't speak, but you can. The name is yours now." I opened my mouth and spoke the name. The name slid from my tongue like oil and fire. Not human, not meant to be spoken aloud. It bent the world. The sky tore like wet paper. The field of ashes inverted as if gravity itself bowed to the sound. And the Hollow King stood. His limbs were wrong. Too long, too many, made of bark and bone and smoke. His head twisted toward me and his crown cracked down the middle, dripping embers. From the broken glass beneath me, my mother vanished. No scream, no sound, just a breath, like a candle snuffed out. And then, silence. All the other Eloras, the failed ones, the reflections, stopped screaming. They turned, faceless, watching. Vale fell to his knees. "It's done," he whispered. "You've spoken it. The name is hers again. But in your mouth, it's changed." The sky rumbled. Not thunder. A heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. It wasn't the king's anymore. It was mine. And I felt it. Her memory peeling back. all of it flooding in. The village, the pact, the fire they lit to silence her, the voices buried in the wells, and the child born from it all. Me. I wasn't her reincarnation. I was her echo sharpened into something new, something that could answer. The Hollow King reached for me, one splintered finger touching the glowing runes on my arm. "You are not what she was," he said, his voice like 1,000 knives dragged through dirt. "You are what comes after." The world broke, and I opened my eyes, gasping, back in the real world, on the attic floor, covered in soot, holding the diary. The mirror across from me was cracked, and in the center of it, a small charred feather, still warm. The mirror was no longer just broken, it was bleeding. A slow, black ichor seeped from the cracks in the glass, trailing down the attic wall like veins crawling toward the floor, and the feather, still warm, still pulsing faintly, began to twitch. I didn't touch it, not this time. I already knew. Touching was how it spread. The diary's pages flipped on their own, windless, soundless, until one stopped, and a new page appeared, one that hadn't been there before, in handwriting I didn't recognize. "The crown does not belong to kings. It belongs to the one who remembers." I heard the attic boards creak behind me. Someone, or something, was standing there. But when I turned, there was no one, only a shadow, not cast by me, and in its center was Vale. Not the raven, not the boy, something in between, his body stitched with feathers, his eyes pale and hollowed by ash. "You broke the mirror," he said softly. "No, the name did." "You think the name is a weapon?" His smile didn't reach his eyes. "It's a door." He stepped forward, and the floor groaned like something alive, something unwilling. "You've only seen the first veil," he said, "but the hollow crown isn't given. It's taken." "What do I have to take it from?" I asked. Vale tilted his head. From his cloak, he withdrew a shard of mirror, and in its reflection, I saw myself, but older, with a crown of thorns and bone, and eyes like smoldering coals. "She's waiting," he whispered, "but not for you." He held out the shard. "You have to become her, before something else does." I didn't want to touch the shard. Every part of me screamed that once I did, I'd never see the world the same again. Or maybe I'd stop seeing this world altogether. But Vale just stood there, hand extended, as if the choice had already been made long ago, and I was just catching up to it. The attic trembled. The mirror behind me pulsed with light. Not bright, but deep, a red that moved like ink in water. I felt it again. The heartbeat. Not from me. Not from Vale. From somewhere beneath the house. I reached for the shard. It hissed in my fingers, cold at first, then burning hot. The reflection twisted. I no longer saw myself. I saw a tower made of ribs stretching into the sky, a staircase carved from teeth, a woman standing atop it all wearing the hollow crown, her mouth sewn shut with red thread, but her eyes screamed my name. "Elora." The shard shattered in my hand. Vale didn't flinch, but something did outside. The trees, the wind, the sky itself seemed to recoil. "She knows now," Vale said. "She knows you saw her." "Who is she?" I whispered. "The first one. The one who made the pact. The one who wore the crown before it was ever hollowed." He looked at the mirror. "She was your mother's mother. And she's not dead. Not yet." I wanted to run. Wanted to tear open the attic door, forget this place, forget my name. But I could feel it. In my blood. In my bones. I was already changing. And running wouldn't save me. Because whatever wore the hollow crown now, was walking this way. That night I didn't sleep. The attic stayed sealed, but I could hear her. Walking. Not footsteps exactly. More like a slow, deliberate dragging. As if something ancient was pulling its weight across the walls of the house. Scraping softly. Just to remind me she was close. I clutched the broken shard, still warm in my hand. It pulsed once, then went cold. A final message etched itself across the silver surface. "You are not her blood, but her dead is yours." I didn't understand what it meant, until I opened the door to my mother's old room. The smell hit me first, dried herbs, rust, and something like wet feathers. The bed was untouched, but the wallpaper had begun to peel, revealing carvings underneath. Names. Dozens of them. Etched into the wood like a ledger. And one name was circled, twice. Elora. Beneath it, in different handwriting, was a warning. She traded names for time. Now time wants them back. Your mother made the pact, came Vale's voice behind me. I didn't turn to face him. She traded your name to the one who wears the hollow crown. But why? To save you, for a while. But time doesn't forget. And neither does she. I touched the wall. The wood was hot. A heartbeat again. Stronger now. Not mine. Not Vale's. Not even the house's. It was hers. She's under the floor, I said quietly. No, said Vale. She's inside it. The floorboards creaked beneath my feet, but this time the sound was different. Hollow. Like the house itself was breathing, slow, deep, and waiting. Vale followed silently, eyes scanning the shadows that now writhed against the walls, cast by no candle or moonlight. We have to go down, he said. Down to where she waits. I swallowed the knot in my throat and pulled a rusted iron key from the diary's spine, something I hadn't noticed before. The trapdoor groaned as I lifted it. A cold rush of air spilled out, smelling like earth and old secrets. The stairs were narrow and crumbling, carved from stone that felt impossibly ancient. Older than the house, older than me. At the bottom, the walls were covered with inscriptions, runes and names that twisted and turned like living things. Vale stepped forward, placing his hand on the wall. It's a cage, he said softly. And a prison. A shadow moved. A figure stepped from the darkness. She was cloaked in black feathers, her face pale but lined with sorrow. Her eyes, empty hollows, locked onto me. I am the hollow crown, she said, and you are my heir. My breath caught. I don't want this. But it wants you, she whispered. The walls began to close in. The runes glowed bright red. The cage was waking. Vale grabbed my arm. You have one choice. Wear the crown, or be consumed by it. The crown was heavier than I expected. Not made of gold or jewels, but of shadow and sorrow. It pressed against my skin, cold as a grave and sharp as a wound. The hollow crown whispered in a voice like broken glass. Remember, become, rule. My mind flooded with memories, not my own but hers. Centuries of pain, betrayal, and power. A legacy chained to darkness and fire. I wanted to resist, to scream and tear it away. But the crown had roots, deep roots, entwining with my very soul. Vale's voice broke through the storm. Hold on. This is your trial. I closed my eyes and saw the past, the faces of those who wore the crown before me, their stories bleeding into mine. A choice lay before me. Succumb to the crown's hunger, or use its power to break the cycle. I opened my eyes. The shadows around me recoiled. The whisper turned to a roar. But I was no longer afraid. I choose to remember and to change. The crown cracked, pieces falling like ash. Light poured through the fractures, burning away the darkness. When the last shard fell, I stood alone, crowned not by shadow but by truth. Vale smiled, relief shining in his eyes. You have broken the cycle. The hollow crown was no more, but the echoes remained. A promise that memory, pain, and power would always live on. In me. The morning after breaking the crown, the graveyard called to me again. But this time it was different. Not silence, but a murmur. A song of names once lost to time. The sun was low, casting long shadows over the stones. I stepped carefully among the graves, feeling something shift beneath my feet. The ground itself breathing, alive. The raven waited on a branch, wings tucked close. His eyes met mine. You have changed, he said. But the dead remember. I nodded. I'm ready now. To see everything. He cawed once, a sound that echoed like a bell tolling. And the air around us shimmered. The past and present began to fold together. Whispers grew louder. And the forgotten began to speak. The voices rose around me, faint at first, then clear as the wind through the trees. Names I had never heard. Stories I could almost grasp. The raven took flight, circling above as if calling the memories down. Each grave before me flickered with light. Ghostly figures stepping from the shadows, their faces blurred but full of longing. They spoke without words, their emotions weaving through the air. Regret, hope, sorrow, love. And among them I saw her. The woman who had worn the hollow crown before me. Her eyes no longer empty but filled with peace. She reached out, touching my cheek like a mother's blessing. "You carry us now," she whispered. "To remember is to live." I felt the weight of their stories settle inside me. Not a burden but a gift. The raven landed beside me, his voice softer than ever. "This is why you were chosen. To be the keeper of forgotten souls." I swallowed hard, knowing my journey was far from over. As the spirits whispered their stories, a new presence stirred. Not from the graveyard but within me. Vale's voice echoed, faint yet firm. "You've opened the door. Now you must walk through it." I looked down at my hands, no longer trembling but steady. The amulet around my neck warmed, pulsing in time with my heartbeat. A path unfolded before me, winding through the trees and into a realm of shadows and light. A place where memories lived and breathed, where time was a circle rather than a line. I stepped forward. With each step, fragments of forgotten pasts flickered. A child's laughter, a mother's tear, a warrior's final breath. I was both witness and keeper, a bridge between the living and the lost. Suddenly, a figure appeared, cloaked, face hidden beneath a hood. "Who are you?" I asked. The figure lowered their hood, revealing eyes that shimmered like stars. "I am the last memory," they said. "The one who remembers all, yet is forgotten by none." The last memory stepped closer, their gaze piercing yet gentle. "I am the guardian of all stories left untold, the keeper of silent voices." I felt a strange calm wash over me. "Why are you here?" I asked. "To remind you," they said, "that every story matters. Even the ones buried beneath time's weight." Their hand reached out and suddenly I was flooded with visions. Faces of strangers and loved ones, laughter and sorrow intertwined. "We are all connected," the figure whispered. "Your choice to remember frees us." The raven cawed softly from above. "You are no longer just a vessel. You are a beacon." I nodded, understanding at last. To remember was to honor those who came before, and to live meant carrying their light forward. The guardian smiled, a flicker of warmth in the endless night. "Now go. Your story is just beginning." I stepped back into the graveyard, the morning sun breaking through the mist. The stones no longer seemed cold or forgotten. They shimmered with the lives they held. The raven landed beside me, feathers gleaming in the light. "You have done what few could," he said. "You have remembered, and in remembering you live." I touched the amulet, a promise made, a legacy kept. The past was no longer a chain but a bridge. And as I walked away from the graveyard, I knew one truth. To remember is not to be bound, but to be free. The world shifted beneath my feet. The memories I carried no longer whispered, they roared. Voices rose from every shadow, every forgotten corner of the graveyard. The raven stood silent beside me, his eyes reflecting storms yet to come. "This is the end," he said, "but also the beginning." A final truth awaited, one I had yet to face. The price of freedom, and the rule that binds all who dare remember. The air thickened, charged with anticipation. The dead were restless, their whispers now voices shouting across time. "The final rule," the raven murmured, "is simple but unforgiving." I looked to him. "What is it?" He fixed me with those coal-black eyes. "To truly be free you must choose, remember everything and be bound forever, or forget and lose yourself completely." My heart thundered. There was no middle ground. The weight of all forgotten souls pressed on me, a tide rising, unstoppable. "Is there a way to break it?" He shook his head slowly. "No one has yet, but I would try, for all of us." I stood at the center of the graveyard, the soil beneath me pulsing like a heartbeat. The voices swelled, each one a thread weaving through my mind. The raven spread his wings wide, casting shadows that danced like flames. "Your choice will rewrite the past, present, and future. But it will cost you more than you know." I closed my eyes, feeling the amulet warm against my chest. Memories flooded in, faces I'd never seen, places I'd never been, emotions not my own. A presence emerged from the darkness, the hollow crown, shattered but not gone. It whispered, tempting me to claim its power once more. But I was different now. I reached out, not to seize, but to heal. Light blossomed from my hands, spreading through the graveyard like dawn breaking a long night. The whispers quieted. The final rule was breaking. The graveyard transformed before my eyes. Stone and soil mended, cracks sealing as light poured into every crevice. The lost souls lifted, no longer shadows but glowing figures of peace. Their voices softened into a gentle hum, a chorus of gratitude. The raven landed beside me, his feathers gleaming like polished obsidian. "You've done what none could," he said. "You've broken the cycle." But as the dawn light bathed the earth, a deeper truth settled within me. Freedom wasn't without sacrifice. The amulet pulsed one last time, then grew cold. I felt a part of myself slip away, a piece of the past released forever. I looked up at the sky, knowing this was both an ending and a beginning. "Now what comes next?" I whispered. The raven's eyes glinted. "The future is yours to write." The wind stirred the leaves, carrying with it voices, soft, familiar, and new. I felt their stories woven into the fabric of my being. The raven spread his wings again, readying for flight. "But your journey is not over," he said quietly. I nodded, the weight of memory and hope balanced within me. "There is one last truth you must accept," he continued. "Remembering means carrying not just others' pain, but their strength." I closed my eyes, embracing the warmth growing inside. "No longer afraid," I whispered, ready to face whatever comes. The raven lifted into the sky, a silhouette against the rising sun. "Go now, Elora," he called. "The story continues, with you." The first light of dawn touched the horizon, painting the sky with gold and crimson. I stood alone in the graveyard, but never truly alone. The memories I carried no longer weighed me down. They lifted me higher, a tapestry of lives intertwined, a legacy reborn. The raven circled above once more, then perched on my shoulder. "You are the keeper now," he whispered. "The guardian of stories, the breaker of curses." I reached up, touching the amulet, now cool and still. A symbol not of chains, but of freedom. As I walked away from the forgotten graveyard, the wind carried a final whisper. "To remember is to live, and to live is to write your own story." And so I did.